Let's move on and let's go to our player ratings. 1-0 win against Manchester United. Starting off with Vicario, 8 all round for Big Vic. And when Paul Coyton read his name out on the tannoy just before the game when he was doing the lineups, it was such a massive cheer, such a relief seeing Vicario back, because Kinski, you know, he was he let in a few easy goals, didn't he, over the last couple of weeks. And I felt like if Kinski was in goal yesterday, we probably would have conceded. I felt like Vicario was such a safe pair, such a strong pair of hands. I don't know how many saves he made on the day, but quite a few of them were really good saves. And I just felt like it just gave us that bit of leadership at the back. He was constantly shouting at his back four that maybe Kinski doesn't do. And I thought from crosses as well, you know, he was commanding his box pretty well. So really good return to action for Vicario.
Yeah, he made 6 saves on the day, and I thought just looked so comfortable. In fact, SofaScore actually gave him man of the match, Vicario.
Not surprised.
I thought he was fantastic. His handling was absolutely brilliant throughout the game. I thought some of the saves he had to make were some of them outstanding, especially that one low down to his right where Garnacho looked to fire into the near post, that bottom corner. I thought was a brilliant one-handed save to tip that wide. Made a good one-handed save from Garnacho again on the edge of the box where he looking for the far corner. I thought that was a more simple save. But then he had to make some of those saves where he just makes himself big, gets a strong arm to it, and, you know, a lot of the time they look like simple saves. They look like, oh, it's just been hit at him. But then you look at the Kinski goal he conceded against Villa and you realise that it's, you know, easier said than done, those kind of things, like just consistently making yourself strong and big and making sure the ball doesn't go through you. Because we saw one shot straight at Kinski and it went straight through him and it was a goal. And Vicario, this is what I was saying about Vicario. How often does he let in a goal where you think, oh, he should really save it? He should have saved that. Usually it has to be a very good shot to get past him. And I thought yesterday, United, they put some good efforts in, but none of them were good enough to beat him because he was on great form. And it was just really great to have him back. And I thought marshalled the defence really well as well. Came well running out of his goal. Yeah, it was really positive. Didn't overcomplicate things with the ball at his feet, but didn't have to.
Yeah. 100%. Really good to have him back. Next up, Pedro Porro, 7s all round for Pedro. And yeah, I think the week's rested in the world of good. He's played the most amount of minutes, I think, in anyone in Europe's top 6 league, which is crazy. And he had a really good game yesterday. I felt like he was getting on the ball and creating for us really well in certain amounts. And, you know, from a defensive standpoint, you know, 4 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 clearances. So those numbers are strong. But for the chance that Garnacho had in the first half, he kind of went missing a little bit, dawdling into the centre of the park. But I thought for the most part, he did himself some really good justice yesterday, because a lot of people have been saying he's not having a good season. But from an offensive standpoint, it was much better yesterday than it has been maybe over the last couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at his heat map and you can see it's very concentrated in the United half. So that goes to show how much higher he was like pushing forward, I think, in this game, maybe compared to recent weeks. I think people have noticed he's been asked to kind of be a bit more reserved and maybe be a bit more of his own, in his own half. But I thought in this game, maybe it was because he was a lot fresh and all these things, but he was definitely a lot more offensive. 3 key passes on the day. So again, back to that chance creation machine that we know he can be. He completed 4 crosses as well. Won 6 of his 10 duels. So I thought it was quite an energetic and a very positive display from Pedro Porro, and I definitely think the rest did him really good. But as you say, I think when you look at the chance for Garnacho, Porro's nowhere to be seen. Actually, look at where he is. He's charging down Bruno, who played the through ball. And I think we just got to be better organised. I also think that comes from Tottenham losing the ball in their build-up play. And when that happens, that's why teams press high, because when you win the ball back in those positions, it means that the opposition defence is going to be disorganised. And that's obviously what happened. But yeah, I think Porro jumping into Bruno in that instance, I think, was a bit of a silly decision.
Let's move in to Ben Davies, 7s all round for Benny, and yeah, really good display from him. I thought the back 2 worked really well together, him and Danso, and he was yeah, there was one moment when he kind of like misjudged the flight of the ball and it went over his head. But apart from that, I thought he did himself a good service as well yesterday. 5 clearances, 1 block shot, 1 tackles, and a key pass in there as well. I mean, there was 1 header off the line as well from Ben Davies, which was brilliant to see. And he was being aggressive, you know, going into the central areas of the pitch as well. So I really like Ben Davies' performance yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. I thought he made some clever fouls as well. One of them he got booked for, which I think tried to stop a Man United attack. Actually, they went on to have that attack and he got booked after, but he tried to stop it at source. But I thought that one moment in the first half was pretty poor from him, where he loses the tracking run of Højlund. He tries to put his body in the way of him. He's not even running towards the ball. And by the time he looks would see where Højlund is, Højlund's pretty much at the ball and he doesn't even realise it. So that could have cost us.
He was so upset with himself after that. I don't know if you saw his reaction to it, but he just like, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, he knows he's screwed up in that moment. But obviously he recovered from it because he cleared that shot away from Dalot in that same move. And I think after that, Højlund very rarely got the better of him or got a run on him, and I think he kind of adjusted after that period, and I thought got a lot of good clearances, was doing the basics correctly. On the ball was decent as well, nothing amazing, but was decent. So I think a solid display from Ben Davies.
Kevin Danso up next, 8s all round for Danso, and I thought he put in a monstrous display, to be honest. And the amount of challenges he was putting in, and he seems like he's got the recovery pace to really. I think he's got better recovery pace than someone like Cuti Romero, to be honest. And he was putting in those sliding challenges quite often, goal-saving challenges. He's built like an ox. He's so strong, winning his duels on the day. And the way he just marauds into the centre of the park as well. So he likes to have that risk element about him of just being able to charge through the centre of the park. And not many times he was getting picked up, but he's always an option there when Spurs are on the attack. So I think he could be a good player for us.
Yeah, I'm liking the look of him. I think his bravery really suits us. I think that was something that Andrew really liked about him. His bravery to step into certain positions when we're on the ball where other centre-backs would maybe be a bit more reserved and wouldn't attack the space like he does, but he's a bit fearless in that instance. There was that one moment where he takes the ball, he runs to the right-hand side, he does a 1-2 of Pedro Porro, continues his run down the line and supports the attack. And I think I was just imagining like Dragusin ever attempting that, and I'm thinking that would never happen. And I think he's very positive with the ball at his feet. I think in this game he probably kept it a bit more simple than he has in the past few games, but he's still a very positive player, very aggressive player. Again, another one Højlund struggled to deal with in that one moment where Højlund was looking like he was going to get an on goal, and Danso made that challenge, was really, really important. I think in the air, really good, very, very aggressive in the air. So I'm liking the look of him. I think he's made a positive start.
Yeah. Jed Spence up next, our man of the match. 9s all round for Jed, and what a performance this was. He owned that left-hand side, it's safe to say. I think he won pretty much every duel, maybe apart from one that he contested on the day. He was so dominant, getting up and down the pitch, driving into the space where no one else was really willing to do that, and he took it upon himself to show that risk element and just to really, whenever he sees any sort of space, just drive into it. And the Man U players couldn't handle him, particularly Mazraoui. He was Mazraoui is going to be having sleepless nights about Jed Spence, and this guy is really kind of elevating himself into a player that can't be dropped at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's not controversial to say he's probably our most informed player at the moment. I think every game he seems to be getting better and better, and it doesn't matter what tests you put in front of him, he seems to be passing it at flying colours. And I thought in this game, on the ball, was probably his best performance in the Tottenham shirt. The way he was able to weave in and out of United players, attack that space that opened up in front of him, like charged into it without a second thought, without a moment's hesitation. He was attacking that space, and United just didn't know how to deal with it, and it committed so many of the United players to kind of close that space down, and he was able to really ruthlessly exploit it. I thought he was even able to create some chances in the final third as well, with some really good balls into the area. But I thought best of all was his dribbling ability in tight spaces, where especially in his own half, where it looks like at points we were in trouble, he was being pressed and he didn't really have too many outballs, and all of a sudden he would just drag it past Mazraoui or roll the ball and use his strength to hold him off, and he just couldn't deal with it. And as you say, Dalot and Mazraoui are two pretty decent fullbacks who are known for their good defensive solidity, and Spence made them look like very average players and very poor fullbacks, and he was looking like a world-class winger at times with some of his dribbling ability. So really, really positive game again, and he keeps going from strength to strength, so really happy for him.
He was born to play for Spurs.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we got another bell on our hands.
Let's move on to Rodrigo Bentancur. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. I thought, look, let's get it out there. I think he was a lot better in this game than he has been in the past couple of games. I've been very critical of his performances against against Liverpool and against Aston Villa. I do think this was a step in the right direction. He was a lot more creative, using the ball a lot better in certain situations. But then again, in other situations, I felt like he lacked a bit of care on the ball. I don't think he was as combative in the middle of the park, maybe as he has been maybe in the past. But I think it was a good from Ange to take him off when he did, because we were kind of losing a bit of authority in the middle of the park.
Well, clearly he had a knock because his knee was iced on the bench. But I agree. I think he could have done some more stuff on the ball, off the ball. Sorry, I thought on the ball he was actually pretty good, and I thought he was moving the ball quickly and directly, and it led to Tottenham kind of. I thought when Bentancur had the ball,
turns in there,
and I think when he gets on the ball, I think when he plays those direct passes very quickly, they can be quite accurate. And I think that was good. I thought as well, a number of times the ball was played into the middle park from the goalkeeper, and he was winning the header, and he was really dominant in the air, which was really positive. I thought off the ball, though, again, he struggled sometimes to deal with Bruno. I thought Bruno at times was getting the better of him, and he kind of struggled to contain him, because I thought Bruno actually had quite a big influence on the game. So that was a bit disappointing, but I think by and large, positive performance from Bentancur.
Lucas Bergvall up next, 7s all round for Lucas, and he was just a bundle of energy in that first half. Casemiro did not know where he was on the pitch at all. I mean, Casemiro was pretty much just chasing Bergvall's shadow for that whole of that first half, and it was a joy to behold. He was a key part of how dominant, or how the element of control we had in the middle of the park particularly. And yeah, I don't think it was maybe as strong on the ball that we have seen in the past, but the way he just gets the ball and just drives forward and drives through the heart of their midfield, I love to see it. And he did tire towards in the second half, and he got taken off. But for that first half, I thought he played really well.
Yeah, the guy plays like he's ice skating. It's something really interesting to witness, because the way he picks up the ball and just glides past him. You look at him, you don't even think he's moving that quickly, and all of a sudden you're seeing Man United players slipping and sliding to get near him, and I think it's just the way he adjusts his body, his movement. It's hard to track, and it's hard to get near. And he is such a great ball manipulator in that kind of part of the game. And I think he's an exceptional ball carrier, ball dribbler, and I think he's showing that week in week out at the moment. I thought when he got in the final third, he was looking to create things. He was looking positive. I thought defensively, we know how combative he is. He likes to stick a boot in. I did think he had a bit of less influence in the second half than he did in the first. But I also think in the first half, we would just pass the ball into him, and he would just glide past whatever player was near him and advance the ball forward. And that was really, really great to see.
And he didn't get booked.
In this game. Another step in the right direction.
James Maddison up next, 8s all round. Great to see Maddison back in the starting 11, and he ran the show in the first half. He was the hub of the team. He had so much space in the middle of the park. Man United were just affording him all this space, and he was able to strut his stuff and pretty much do what he wanted. He got on the score sheet with a nice late run into the box, off Onana's kind of parry. But it wasn't just that. I thought he was creative. He was combative. Everything that you wanted to see from Maddison coming back into the starting 11. And in the second half, he didn't really come out like he was in the first half, but I just assume, and I'm just going to put that down to him being out for the last 3 weeks and coming back straight into the starting 11. So good start from Maddison. Let's hope to see more of the same.
Definitely, and really great to see him coming back from injury in such a sharp way, in a really confident mood, and not really take time to settle back into the team. I thought he looked like he'd been away. I know it hasn't been out for long, but I think it was really great for him to start in the game the manner he did, the way he took the ball, kind of those little flicks around certain players, whether it be Mazraoui or Casemiro, and driving into the space like he did. He looked creative. That he played one unbelievable pass. It was in the middle of the pitch to Son out wide. Unbelievable. That bent it in behind, and it created a chance for Tell in the end. Unbelievable. That's what the kind of quality he's capable of. No one else, I think, in our team, maybe Porro, no one really else is capable of that kind of pass, really, especially in midfield, I think, in our team. And that's why we need him to keep that place in the team, because he just has that star ability and star quality. And when he's in the mood he was in yesterday in that first half, he's almost impossible to stop. And obviously got the goal. It was an easy goal, but you still need to keep making that run. You still need to gamble on the ball falling to you, and he did that, and he got his rewards for it with the simple finish. I like the bit of shithousery, silencing Roy Keane and all that kind of stuff, and that was really good to see. And I like when Maddison's got the fire in his belly like that, because I think it leads to a bit more from him. I think when you poke him a bit, you get a reaction from Maddison. So did tie in the second half, but he still made that really big challenge on Bruno just before he got taken off, and I thought he kind of worked really hard for the team, and I think it was the right decision, because he's just come back and he needs to settle back into the team, but and get those minutes. But yeah, really encouraging return for Maddison.
Yeah, and that's 9 goals now and 4 assists, 13 goal contributions in 23 games for Tottenham this season. I believe Cole Palmer is the only midfielder in the Premier League that's got more goals than him.
I've said before, I think because of how poor we've been for a lot, and I think Maddison as well has had poor games, but I think he gets kind of people just start this narrative that he's had a poor season and he's not been good. Like, I'm being pretty consistent. I think he's been pretty good this season overall. Yes, he's had poor games and it's frustrating, and also when he has games where maybe he's not quite at his best, and we hold him to a very high standards, and rightly so, because we know what he's capable of. But I think there's this narrative that he's had a poor season, as in like he hasn't played well, and I just disagree. I just don't think he's been bad.
His best goal-scoring return is for Leicester in 21-22, 12 goals. I mean, he's on track to smash that.
Well, he's on 9 at the moment, so I think he will. I think he'll beat that for sure.
He did get 20 goal contributions in that season, though. I don't know if he'll get that.
He's only got 4 assists. But so what? He's got 13. I wouldn't put it past him. But he needs to, he needs to go on quite a run. But look, maybe this break's done him well.
Let's hope so. And let's move on to Decky. Sim gives him a 6, as do I. I think as well, I did think the energy levels were better from Decky than we have seen in previous weeks. I think that when you're talking about pure physicality, though, I think he was failing more times than not. I think the stat is like he contested about 15 or 16 ground duels and ended up winning only 2 of them, which is something you really don't associate with Dejan Kulusevski. But I felt like he was always in the game. He was always providing an outlet for us. He provided a few moments of quality in terms of chance creation. And even in the last minute of the game, he was busting a gut to get forward as well, which shows like some sort of energy levels are there. But I still think it's not the Decky that we have seen in the first part of the season. And I still think that he could it'll do him the world of good just to give him a bit of rest.
Yeah, I think definitely, again, wasn't his best performance for sure. We've seen him play a lot better than we did yesterday, but I did think it was probably a bit better than what we saw at Anfield. I think he probably played better at Villa Park, to be honest, than he did yesterday, but I think he did still create chances. He's still kind of a nuisance for Man United. I think there was some occasions as well late in the game when we were breaking away and he was making good runs, and I think he was making good runs and he wasn't being picked out. I thought the decision making was pretty poor from some of the other players in that period. I think his decision making at times wasn't great as well. There was a time where we had a 4-on-4. All he had to do was lay it back for Son, and instead he kind of went for the shot himself, and it wasn't a great effort, and the chance was gone. So I think that has to be better. But we know what he's capable of. He hasn't been in his best form for a while now, so something I don't know whether it means we have to get him in the middle a bit more consistently, or he needs a break.
He needs a break. I think it's clear for everyone to see the guy needs a break.
Yeah, but he had a week break. He should have been fresher. He was a bit fresher, but that should be enough to get you back, start getting you back to the levels. I hope anyway. But
I just think with the sheer effort and work rate that he puts in every game, I just feel like taking him out of the firing line for a week, maybe even 2, and just get him back reinvigorated for the last stage of the season, particularly the Europa League.
Yeah, maybe we need to do that, because again, he played 90 minutes.
To do it as well with Brennan Johnson and Maddison coming back now, so why not?
Yeah, we do have now, yeah. I think yesterday he played 90 minutes. Maddison needed to take a break. I think Bergvall was also playing a lot, so he needed a rest, so he decided to keep Decky on. But I think Decky could do with a bit of a rest.
Let's move on to Sonny. Sim, we both give him a 6. I felt like he was actually doing pretty well in the first half. He was creating chances. He was providing a really good outlet for us. But then the second half, he just didn't come out as I thought he was pretty poor in the second half, to be honest, and couldn't really beat his man or provide any sort of impact for us. But I did like his performance in the first half, to be fair.
Yeah, I think I think he did create
passes on the game.
I think he did create a chance in that first half. A couple definitely for Tell, was involved in the first goal as well. I did think he was a continuous threat down when we got the ball to the left-hand side, and there was that one, he is becoming now an iconic Sonny turn where he puts his foot on the ball and quickly turns the other way when it looks like he's going to take the ball backwards. He kind of bamboozles the defender and goes on the outside, and he did that to Dalot once yesterday and got to the byline. So I thought in the first half I was pretty positive about it. I thought the second half wasn't great from him, especially in that last 20 minutes when a number of times we had breakaways and he was leading them and just was picking the wrong decision way too consistently, and the chances ended up being kind of wasted way too often, and that was quite frustrating from Son in that bit of the game. But I thought there was some good link up with him and Tell at points. I think that relationship's going to build. I think him and Spence had some good parts, and him and Maddison as well. So I thought first half I was pretty positive. Just needs to make better decisions in those moments.
Yeah, let's move on to Matisse Tell. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I don't know what it is, but I seem to be a lot more positive on this Tell performance than a lot of other people. And I felt like he was making the right runs. He was getting involved in the game. He was heavily involved in so many of our attacks. And yeah, he should be ending the game with a goal. Don't get me wrong. But I felt like he's always on the move, which, a lot of our players weren't. And a lot of our players were way too static yesterday. But Tell, he was always on the move. He was good in his pressing situations. I think the only thing that was missing really was a goal from his game yesterday. And if he would have put the ball in the back of the net in one of the many chances that he had, I think maybe a lot of people would probably be a lot more positive about him.
Yeah, he definitely worked really hard, and I think definitely showed flashes of quality. And I think for sure, I think his movement in the box is good. I think there was some really good stuff from him when the ball was played directly into him in the box, and he's got Maguire behind him and he's able to chest the ball down and even get a shot off when there's players around him. So I think that was really positive. Definitely not scared to shoot. I think definitely some of his shots lacked a bit of power and a bit of conviction, and it was too easily saved. And I also think definitely in the last 20 minutes when we had a series of counter-attacks, he was not making good decisions. There were some moments where he should have shot and he passed, and there were some moments where he should have passed and he shot, and he just couldn't get the decision right at times. And so some points he was too selfish, and some points he was not selfish enough, and that was quite frustrating. And I think if he had made the right decisions, again, we probably would have won the game a bit more comfortably than we did. But I definitely see what he's all about. I think physically, clearly he's ready for the Premier League and clearly can contribute here, and I think the quality is there. He just needs those little tweaks to go in his favour, and I think we've got a really good striker here. I think he's still clearly, still a bit raw, still got a lot of work to do to be the finished article, but I think you can clearly see the potential there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like he's going to be a really exciting player for us. I like what I see from him so far. I do feel he's more suited in our system to the number 9 role than out wide, that's for sure. From what I've seen in these 2 games against Aston Villa and against Manchester United, albeit a much stronger Villa side than we saw from a United side. So maybe that comes into it as well. But let's go on to the subs. We're going to go for Brennan Johnson. Up 6s all round. Good to see him back, and I felt like he came on and he just started driving at that Man United defence, just driving, albeit not too much quality at the end of many of them, but it was just good to see someone come on and just have a go, really.
Yeah, I think he was a threat in that last bit of the game when we were counter-attacking. He was getting wide and stretching Man United a bit, but unfortunately the final pass was lacking quite a bit in this game and couldn't quite create the chances that he should have done in the positions he took off. So that was quite frustrating. But I thought came on, worked really hard, helped out the defence as well, got in position. You could see he was tactically, very useful. So I thought it was a decent cameo, but nothing special.
And Pape Matar 6s all round as well. Another energetic display, gave us more presence in the middle of the park, and also was fairly creative with his passing as well. 2 key passes on the day. So nice little cameo from Sarr.
Yeah, I think added the energy that we were lacking for that little period of the game where United seemed to take control of the game for a bit at the beginning of the second half. But I thought he did really well with just adding that little boost of energy. Actually, we took a bit of control back once he came on, but then we seemed to give up again quite late in the game and we nearly drew. But I thought, good cameo from Sarr.
And the player that we're not going to give a rating to that I just want to mention is Wilson Odobert, who came on for the last, 5 minutes, including stoppage time. And I felt, again, like he came on and just showed the rest of the strikers what dribbling ability is actually all about, because he was actually willing to take on his man and did it quite successfully. And I'm so excited now after that little 5-minute cameo to see Odebear play some more minutes for us.
Yeah, and I think actually you just get the feeling if he was on for a bit longer, he really could have done some more damage to Man United, because I thought every time he got the ball, they couldn't touch him. He was, again, running past them like they weren't there. I think him against tired legs is going to be a really useful asset to have. And I think it was a shame he wasn't able to... it was really frustrating. He would go past the player and then the pass would be slightly wrong, or he wouldn't really, no one was on his wavelength in terms of attacking the space. So I think that comes with time. It was only a 5-minute cameo, but I think you could see already in that 5 minutes what he's capable of and what he can bring to this team. So really delighted to have him back. He's felt so bad for him, the fact that he came, to really make an impact, was starting games, then got that long injury. And let's hope that he can keep going from strength to strength now.
Yeah, it's mad to think about it. That's only his 4th Premier League appearance for Spurs. Mm-hmm. And, we got him as this signing in the summer, and he was supposed to be, massive for us in terms of rotation option on the wings. And, yeah, it's been a massive disappointment in terms of the injuries that he got and the reoccurrence of the injury. But hopefully we can keep him back now and we can keep him fit and see what he's all about from now until the end of the season. And I think he'll have a good relationship with Tell on the pitch, being, friends from a young age. I think they'll have some sort of chemistry about them. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, Ange Postecoglou, 7s all round for Big Ange. And we got the win, 2 back-to-back wins in the Premier League, 2 back-to-back clean sheets in the Premier League, and our first clean sheet in the Premier League since August at home, which is mad to think about. August! Crazy. And I think we deserve the win. And I think some of the changes that he made throughout the game, some of them forced, some of them good managing and good game management from Ange. And look, it wasn't the greatest performance and it wasn't scintillating stuff for the most part, but I do think we were the better team. We controlled the game for the most part, and we deserve the 3 points. So you've got to get the credit for that. And look, these players coming back, 5 new players to add into the squad this week, is a massive source of relief for him, for us, for everyone. And let's just hope we can kick on from here.
Yeah, I think he did have a few. Finally, he had some decisions to make this weekend. I think he did get them right. Does he throw Vicario straight back in? He did, and he put in a top performance. Does he throw Doggy straight back in, or does he stick with Spence? He stuck with Spence, and it paid off. And I think Spence was man of the match. James Maddison, the plan was probably only play him for an hour. Does he throw him straight back in? He did, and obviously that paid off as well. So I think his team selection finally, definitely paid off. And I thought we got the balance right. I thought it was a lot more coordinated. Still conceding too many sloppy chances, and there's a lot to work on when it comes to our build-up. I think still way too many times the ball's at our centre-back's feet and he doesn't have anywhere near enough options. And I see way too often people are running away from him and looking for a ball over the top or looking to run into space rather than coming towards him and helping him out and allowing an easy pass. And that is something we have to work on, because it puts us in trouble too much. And I think that's definitely on Ange to fix. But I definitely saw improvements. I definitely saw a better coordinated press. I definitely saw a lot more energy. And let's just hope these players coming back now can really give us a shot in the arm we need to go on a bit of a run now and improve our league form and maybe give it our best shot in Europa League. And I think there was evidence of improvement. There was evidence to show that things can get better. Was there enough evidence to say that we're back and we're going to be flying yet? No, but definitely a step in the right direction. And sometimes when you're in the run of form that we're in, you just need a win to end that, and then all of a sudden the belief can start to flow through you again. And let's hope that starts to happen. But yeah, I think Ange managed the game pretty well and got the win.
Yeah. All right, well, that is our player